of the air collector is entrance of the air while keeping a radiator. Oh, for the time being, well, the favorite. I'd say, disjoncté.
Copain, hein? Ça aide, hein? Oui. Oui. Oui.
So qualifying is over. The 16 best drivers emerging from the qualifying sessions. And there's one lady among the pack as well, Deborah Lopez, and she's going to get down to the nitty-gritty right from the onset, up against Benoit Magoul. So 2 runs for them. And of course, the judges still looking for the entry speed, the line, the angle, and of course, the style. So both drivers setting off at the same time. Here we are on board this Omega track right here. And the second round of the championship will be held on the 22nd of July, which will also take place, as a matter of fact, here in Pouilly. So 5 races overall for the French Drift Series. So we talked about engine modifications, but there's also a lot with chassis modifications, and so David's going to tell us a little bit about that, shock absorption, and the lot. Of course, it all has to resist to the stiff solicitations involved in the sport of drifting. So David and his Toyota is going to explain to us a little bit everything he did to his car.
Donc c'est une Toyota Cresta JZX 90.
Oh, it's a Toyota Cresta that I imported from Japan just earlier in the year, and I prepared especially of the air collector as entrance of the air while keeping a radiator. Oh, for the time being, well, the favorite. I'd say, disjoncté.
Copain, hein? Ça aide, hein? Oui.
So qualifying is over. The 16 best drivers emerging from the qualifying sessions. And there's one lady among the pack as well, Deborah Lopez, and she's going to get down to the nitty-gritty right from the onset, up against Benoit Magoul. So 2 runs for them. And of course, the judges still looking for the entry speed, the line, the angle, and of course, the style. So both drivers setting off at the same time. Here we are on board this Omega track right here. And the second round of the championship will be held on the 22nd of July, which will also take place, as a matter of fact, here in Pouilly. So 5 races overall for the French Drift Series. So we talked about engine modifications, but there's also a lot with chassis modifications, and so David's going to tell us a little bit about that, shock absorption, And the lot, of course, it all has to resist to the stiff solicitations involved in the sport of drifting. So David and his Toyota is going to explain to us a little bit everything he did to his car.
Donc c'est une Toyota Cresta JZX 90.
Oh, it's a Toyota Cresta that I imported from Japan just earlier in the year, and I prepared especially. Well, in terms of the rear, well, of course, it's the auto blocking system, which is a little bit different. Wide tires, HKS, stiff shock absorption.
Voilà, une malle arrière en carbone.
Ça c'est pour le gain de poids.
C'est pour le gain de poids.
Là, je crois qu'à l'intérieur, t'as fait pas mal de choses.
J'ai fait pas mal de
So
manèges.
carbon rear as well, just to get a little extra weight, and on the inside, a lot of changes as well. 1,700 kilograms,
La balance, elle était à 1300 kilos.
and now we're down at 1,300.
C'est pas un 4 cylindres ça.
Non, c'est un 6 cylindres. C'est un
So this is a 6-cylinder,
monté chez Toyota au Japon dans plusieurs véhicules.
an engine that was mounted
C'est un 2,5 litres en 6 cylindres.
by
24
Toyota
soupapes.
Japan.
À l'origine, c'était un biturbo qui est passé en monoturbo.
It was a bi-turbo that went down to a mono-turbo.
Ça développe combien de chevaux ça à peu près?
On va dire, dans les 450 à 500 chevaux, tout dépend de la pression.
450 to 500 horsepower, all depends about the pressure and the turbo. And the 16 best drivers about to wage war out here. Let's get it underway. Battle number one. You can check out the table right here. Deborah Lopez going to get us underway up against Benoit Magoul. And here we are, battle number one. Nissan S14 up against Nissan S13. Let's get the show on the road. That was a tough job here for the jury. They almost went on to the sudden death format right here to find out a winner for this battle. Deborah, a very convincing run. And in the end, Deborah Lopez will be going on to the quarterfinals out here. The only lady of the drifting series here in France qualified for the top 16, making her way to the quarterfinals. Second battle, Tony Juin up against Steve Leiber. Nissan S14 up against the Nissan Skyline. And a very convincing run here as well. Tony taking it away. Now it's over to Martin Farney up against Sebastian Anger. Ford Sierra and BMW E30. And despite this spin out right here, his second run performance enabled him to go on all the way to a sudden death format. But in the end, Martin did take it away. Sebastian Lepere up against Reynald Pacolier. Once again, BMW E30 up against a S13. And you can tell right here, Sebastian just an inch away from overtaking his opponent. So Reynald taking away this battle. Over here, David up against Andreas. David Rose up against Andreas Distel. Bit of understeering here for David. He'll be penalized for that. Steve Rinsaz up against Dejan Gorgiev. Two BMWs going head-to-head. Very, very stiff battle out here. Both team members of VWF, and Steve taking that one away. Alexander Blanchet up against Sammy Frisson. Sammy going on to win it. The last battle out here of the first round. Over to the quarterfinals, and we're back with Deborah Lopez, and she's down up against Tony. Tony Juin, the first run, clearly in Deborah's favor. Well, Deborah takes it away. We'll find her in the semifinals. Wow, great performance. And Jill up against Andreas, both Swiss drivers. Well, Gilles going to spin out on that one. Pretty much letting Andreas go all the way to take it and qualify for the semifinals. Steve Rinsaz up against Sammy Frisson. Things are pretty tight on run number one. So they almost go head-to-head. Unfortunately, right here on the second run, spin-out situation. And so sudden death is going to be required to differentiate the two drivers. Sammy Frisson taking it away, disposing of Steve Rinsaz. Semifinals now. Deborah Lopez up against Reynald Paquelier. The only woman taking part in the competition here. Run number one, Deborah once again coming up with a stunning performance. Unfortunately though, Deborah just cracked under the pressure. Reynald able to keep his cool. And Deborah, check out what happens to her spinning out right here. That's unfortunate. And that pretty much paves the way for Reynald Paquelier to make his way to the final. Andreas Distel up against Sammy Frisson. A very, very tough one here as well. Big battle. A tug of war. Andreas moving on to the final, up against Reynald Paquelier. And so the battle for third place, it's Deborah up against Sammy. So Deborah just finishing her run right here in style. Check that out. Nice lines, good trajectory. Good style here as well. Deborah Lopez, the only woman of the field, completing the podium, securing the lowest step of the podium. And a great performance for Mrs. Lopez. Well, moving on to the final right here. Andreas up against Reynald. This one is going to be a tough one and a very, very tight negotiation right here. An S13 up against an M5. Reynald going a bit on the wide side. And unfortunately, victory is lost over this mistake right here. Andreas Dister going on to win the first run of the French Championship, the first event organized in France. Of course, it's an exhibition contest, so... Well, what happened is that the decisions from the English side of the jury were contested. People saying the way the English judge actually judged the drivers was a bit cruel, and so this event will only be an exhibition because the entire ranking has been reworked and revamped. So let's listen to Andreas, the winner. Very happy.
Yeah, it was a hard run. I win only here heat spin. It was very difficult.
Okay, you will be back at Pouilly for next month?
Yeah, of course.
You'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, a great contest. Only serving as exhibition in your podium finish right here. Andreas Distel, Reynald Paquelier, and Deborah Lopez completing it. So an exhibition contest that is a big step forward for the French drifting scene. The next contest, July 22, right here on the same track right here in Pouilly as well. So it's going to be showtime. We'll see you then. Motors TV will air round number 2 on August the 10th. Bye-bye.